You're listening to the New Old Heads podcast, shot live every Tuesday at twitch.tv/newoldheads and released every Thursday at noon via bringingdowntheband.com. The show is brought to you by Coleman Dental, Indie CD and Vinyl. Support the show directly by becoming a member at patreon.com/newoldheads.
You're now tuned into the New Old Heads podcast. Excuse me. I apologize for that. I'm surrounded by the brothers, starting off with my man Jay Moore. How are you, sir?
You know, just doing what I got to do. Kicking but not high, flapping but can't fly. You know the vibes.
That's that game right there. My man Lonegevity. How are you, brother?
Doing all right. How you doing?
Doing good, man. Good to see you.
You too.
My man DJ Jay Diff. What's happening, man?
Salutations.
There it is.
There we go.
There it is.
I was looking at the screen because for a minute it had green. My shirt became a green screen.
Oh, for real?
So it was all black. It was throwing me off.
Scared you a little bit.
It didn't scare me. I was just like, why the hell? I'm like, because the graphics had made it a green. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, I'm good.
You
man.
good?
Yeah.
All right. I'm trying to get a little bit of this last few days of good weather before the switch. I think that's coming.
I mean, the switch should have been had.
It definitely should have.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. It's a little thing called global warming that a lot of people don't believe in.
Well, look at what
and
it
it's
was.
political, which is mad crazy.
Yep.
Well,
Yes.
look at what it was last year and this time, and look at what it is today.
Well, it snowed on Christmas, not Christmas, but Halloween, maybe 2 years ago, 3 years ago. Yeah.
It's not going to do that this Halloween.
Yeah, now it's 70-something
Well, the
degrees
next day,
outside.
well, the day after is going to be low 36. So, I mean,
That's Indiana stuff, though. I mean, we that the weather be
not
Fishy.
from 80
to 30.
to 36.
Yeah, come on, listen.
That's fair. That's fair, long. That's fair.
Yeah.
It's about to be a lot of broken pipes in these streets. I'm telling you.
Like I said, I like when it gets a little chillier in the air. That's when I got on my you know, I can get out here and I can really be dressing
There
when
you
it get
go.
cold outside. Plus, you know,
Put on your sweaters and your boots.
oh
and
yeah, I'm not messing around when
your
it comes
pea
to
coats and
this cold weather.
turtleneck here and there.
Oh yeah, turtle. I'm
Yeah.
bringing turtlenecks back, baby. You
Nah,
understand?
they've been back, bro.
Yeah, I was about to say how they've been back for a little bit, ain't they?
Yeah,
You know, you got to know how to freak them now.
yeah. You gotta layer it up a little bit.
Yeah.
So, first kind of story of the day. DJ Clark Kent, the rap producer and hip-hop elder statesman, known as God's favorite DJ, has died at the age of 58 after a 3-year battle with colon cancer. His family made this statement: "It is with deep sadness that we share the passing of the beloved Rodolfo A. Franklin, known to the world as DJ Clark Kent. Clark passed away Thursday evening, surrounded by his devoted wife Keisha, daughter Cabria, and son Antonio. Clark quietly and valiantly fought a 3-year battle with colon cancer while continuing to share his gifts with the world. The family is grateful for everyone's love, support, and prayers during this time and asks for privacy as they process this immense loss." Initial thoughts?
Legendary in hip hop, in the shoe game. He was a shoe connoisseur. He has always been associated with it. You know, the two incredible shoe collection and all of his stories from.
He had his own shoes too.
Yes, he had his own joints, and you know, you should love to hear him talk about the Biggie era and Reasonable Doubt and Jay, and you know how they were putting that album together, and you know, he's just legendary, credible DJ. Made some heat from a producer standpoint. He's just always somebody that's been associated with hip hop since I can remember. So
Since he was very young.
yes.
He actually did his first gig with Grandmaster Flash. I want to say he was like 11 or 12.
That's crazy.
And
bro.
he thought that he was getting on there to play a couple records, saying that he ended up letting him play like 30.
It's a big
And
deal.
at that point, he went home and told his grandmother, "This is what I want to do for the rest of my life." And I mean, he's legendary in more than one outfit, though. You know what I'm saying? That's what's
True.
crazy.
True.
And you know, they say that I mean, everybody's death affects you some way, shape, or form, especially from the culture, but certain ones hit a little deeper than other ones.
Yeah.
And this one, I had no idea that he was even suffering through colon cancer. And it's just a true testament for everybody, friends, family in between, that just stay on top of, you know, these screenings. We're all getting older. We have to be diligent about our health because some of this stuff is avoidable. I don't know his exact situation,
Right.
but I know that a lot of people let things go dormant or just think they're Superman and don't do anything about it till it's too late. So definitely rest in peace to him.
You know what? One of the things that I loved hearing Clark Kent be interviewed, especially when he talked about the DJ game and what technology meant to the DJ game, you know, and he had specifically in his writer, I need this equipment. And if you don't have this equipment, I'm not going to play here. And he refused to play on controllers. That was his thing. He didn't mess with the sync button. You know, it had to be real turntables. And, you know, he got to this very high price gig and he showed up and there was a controller there and he went home. And, you know, you got to give it up for somebody that stands by, you know, their certain level of artistic integrity. Yeah. You know, some people could say, oh, yeah, he's stuck in a certain place. Whatever. If you are DJ Clark Kent and you have a standard and you are willing to stand by your standard, you know, you already got your deposit, you know, and there's nothing you could do about it within the paperwork. So he just took it on to the crib. DJs can come and go. You know, if I've lived in a couple of big cities, this is being the one I spend most of Indianapolis. I spent most of my time in, and a lot of the DJs who were, you know, on top of the game, like they're still out there, but you know they're not as frequently seen as they once were. Clark was one of those guys that was still just he might as well he was still at the top of his game. Yeah, you know, like I said, and it used to be 58 seemed so old. You'd be like, if I'm 58, oh, wow, I'm going to have grandkids, I'm going to be sitting in a rocking chair. But then, you know, you see somebody like Clark Kent that doesn't look that much different than you, you know, as far as like, you know, being able to move around and be close to the culture, if you will. And so it just makes you feel like, you know, we don't have time to be out here playing. You know, let's make the best of all the days that we are given and do things to the best of our ability while we're here. And that's what Clark Kent did.
100%.
I want to shout out, we had a Patreon member that passed from the same exact thing too.
Yeah,
sure did.
Yeah. The flood.
Yeah, the flood. Yeah. Shout out to him.
It's, you know, it's just crazy because, you know, we'll still see his name pop up in certain things. But yeah, man, just this cancer is not to be played with. You know, luckily, and screenings do help. You know, because you know when I believe I was going to the 9th grade, my father was diagnosed with colon cancer, but they literally caught it that early. You know, this is like I said, I'm 47. This was when I was in the 9th grade, and he's still here with us because he caught it early.
Right.
Man, thank God, that's crazy.
There you go.
That's important. But definitely a true pioneer to the game. Like I said, he transcended generations too. As far as, I mean, some people first heard him producing for Biggie. Yep. There's a lot of people that didn't even really know that he was a producer, but know him from the shoe game. Like younger people are familiar with DJ Clark Kent drops and collabs and things like that. So,
I have a short little reader here. So he was born in Panama, actually, and he first found notoriety in the late 80s in New York as a DJ for Dana Dane. 89, he remixed Spread My Wings by the New Jack Swing group Troop, but his big break would not come until 6 years later when he produced Player's Anthem by Junior Mafia from their 1995 debut, Conspiracy. The track featured both Biggie and first ever appearance from Lil Kim. The following year, he produced 3 songs on Jay-Z's Reasonable Doubt, Cashmere Thoughts Coming of Age and Brooklyn's Finest, the latter featuring Biggie. It's also said, this is in like a little parentheses, it's also said that Kent was introduced Jay-Z to Rockefeller co-founder Dame Dash. Kent continued his production work with Biggie's Sky's the Limit. Scored the biggest of his career with Mariah Carey's Loverboy, which peaked at number 2 on Billboard Hot 100. The most recent, I think, is Lil Pump and Kanye's. He contributed to the I Love It record when they were with those big...
with the shoulders.
Yeah. I love it. Yeah. So, but yeah.
Sky's the limit, man. Yeah. Classic, bro. He got some... Those are classic records, man. Especially Reasonable Doubt.
Yeah, so rest in peace to DJ Clark Kent. Definitely a legend. Thoughts with his family.
Sure.
Absolutely.
All right. So I saw this pop up in an interview last week. We didn't get to it last week, but Mixed by Ali, who is an engineer who's worked most notably with TDE, Kendrick Lamar, and all that. He recently went on the Uninterrupted podcast, and this is a clip where he talks about the West Coast unity that happened after the Kendrick and Drake thing. We can watch this video and then kind of discuss.
think what that did when they talk about collaboration, I think LA and just the West has suffered in the sense of not having that collaboration because of the hood politics, right? And I feel like that door has been now kicked wide open. You know, sometimes you got to do bad to do good, right? And, you know, some bad had to happen in the sense of just the music and the culture coming together for the celebration of a big win. That was needed to know that, yo, like, we can come together and celebrate. We can come together, make music and be on the same stages and be at the same venues without nothing going on.
It look easy.
And it look, it was not. And even what I've been seeing, like my brother DJ Head, we talk about it all the time, man. And it's been so stagnant out here. Nobody wanted to come and be that figure to speak for us, right? And who else to do that but Head, right? He bleeds this.
Any thoughts on that?
I think this is the crazy thing because, you know, LA politics, as far as what happens in the streets, if you will, has probably affected more industry things than you possibly could ever imagine. But, you know, the crazy thing is when we think about Death Row in that time,
Yeah.
you know, their biggest star was a Crip, but he was on a blood label, if you will. That's what Suge repped. He repped the other side.
True.
You know, so there were some people who were able, there's been a history of people putting politics aside, Nipsey and YG doing records together.
Yeah.
You know, but, you know, there's always seems to be something that happens when there's a rift reopens, and it kind of hurts the overall growth and the progression of things that happen on the West Coast. So, you know, hopefully this is the sort of thing that it was like, okay, we see how strong we are together.
Right.
You know, and plus, you know, it's a situation where, like, I'll just be honest, I don't particularly understand the motivation gangbanging. Maybe it's not for me to understand, especially on the West Coast, because that's a whole nother world. You know, because in my mind, I'm like, well, you know, where's the money in all this?
Yeah.
At least when you talk about, you know, the mafia or the so-called mafia, at least there was a money motivation to all this, you know. And so maybe if these brothers on the West Coast see, hey, maybe we can get some money together if we stop fighting each other over land we don't own.
They're getting money.
I mean, but you know, what's the point? You get money and then you stay in the same place. You know, that's the thing I don't quite understand, you know, but then at the same time, you know, the saddest thing about Nipsey is he got killed by somebody in his own gang in his own neighborhood.
Yeah.
You know, once again, there was some politics that, you know, I'm not going to speak on it because it's not my place. But I just hope that, you know, what we saw on stage at that concert was the Forum, I believe.
The Pop Out?
Yeah,
Yeah,
the
it was at
Pop
the
Out
Forum.
that, you know, maybe that is a spirit that can be carried on. And it'd be like, hey, let's, you know, because once the West Coast comes out and really gets to swinging, it's hard to beat them.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, the biggest stars right now reside in LA, and there's really no question about that. But it took somebody like Kendrick, who is pretty much he's not claiming one side. I know he grew up in a blood neighborhood, I believe, but he's right there in the middle. He's somebody that people can on every side can pretty much relate to. You know what I'm saying? So that's good he was able to do that, although it probably was a lot of pulling the strings back and forth behind the scenes. It came off good, it looked good, and was a good representation of LA.
Definitely felt authentic when I watched it. You know, I know he was talking about how, you know, what the Head was talking about, you know, just how hard that is to kind of get to pull that off. But it seemed like everybody was having a good time, and it felt authentic. It didn't feel, you know, rushed or forced or pushed, and everybody was just having a good time enjoying it. So to y'all points, everybody's point, I just hope it continues, because I thought it was a dope look. You know, seemed authentic, seemed real. And Kendrick definitely is a person that can be, he just seems respected overall. Like he's the
neutral.
kid. Yeah, he's the kid that everybody was like, just leave him alone because he's going to make it. That's just the way it feels. So
it's kind of like how they're in certain situations, like the gangbangers won't even bother you because, like, no, he's going to school.
Yeah.
He plays like Richard Sherman, who is from Compton.
Yep.
And like when he would try to hang out, they'd be like, no, we know your mother and father. You carry your ass to school. You can't hang around us, you know? And so there is a certain level of code that you have, you know, sometimes when you see a kid and he's doing something, like, I know it's the same way in Chicago, that you don't mess with the kids who are playing ball.
Yeah, Lupe talked about it in our segment last week.
Yep.
He mentioned that.
So, you know, that's the thing. I just hope there's a spirit of community that continues on, not only artistically, but just in the community, and us, you know, putting the foolishness aside so we can go ahead and nurture the talent that we have.
Yeah, I'm with it.
in is this our trash hip hop news segment?
It's probably
it's Kid
it's
Rock.
probably
So yeah, trash
it's
is
Kid Rock.
pretty much
Trash
how
in
it
that
sums it
sense,
up.
yeah.
Kind of.
Yeah.
In some sense, yeah. So Kid Rock recently uploaded a video. Actually, it was yesterday on Monday. That seemingly, I think it was Monday. Actually, I don't know when it was, but it was
Very recent.
It was after Eminem introduced Barack Obama for the Kamala Harris thing in Detroit, the little thing. So, anyways, Kid Rock came out and played some guitar. Did some things, slapping the strings a little bit, and then had this thing to say. And then Eminem actually followed up, which we'll talk about after.
I love Eminem. We've been friends for many years. I don't agree with his politics, but I do give credit to him and people like Taylor Swift for standing up and not being afraid to be vocal for that in which they believe. Thinking different and having the freedom to do so is what makes this country great. My stance, unequivocally MAGA, because I know in my heart, mind, body, and soul that President Trump will make America great again. God bless the USA.
So hip hop of him.
Yeah, and then Eminem replied to that, said, "Here's one thing Kid Rock and I do agree on. Go Lions. Appreciate you, Bob." So I don't know how I necessarily feel about this. I don't know if it's really my place to feel anything about it, but maybe it's just because I'm so just disappointed in Trump supporters and MAGAs across the line. Like I don't know how I feel about him being all buddy, and not even buddy, but just like cordial. It's almost like I want him to go at his throat. Like I want battle rapper Eminem to reply.
Oh, instead of the
appreciate you, Bob. Like I don't know how I feel about that. So
I was
Bob.
I'm not gonna lie, Lone. I was when I read his response because the headline talked about Eminem responds to. So I'm thinking like you. I'm thinking, okay, he did something clever, something funny, and just chopped him up and then kept it moving. But when I saw that about the Lions, it was like missed opportunity there, buddy.
I think he probably did it too, based on Kid Rock's response to that wasn't really disrespectful.
True, that's fair.
Yeah. And M is trying to kill Slim Shady, so to speak.
Yeah,
because Slim Shady wouldn't be up introducing Barack Obama at any rally.
That's a good point.
At any point in time, you know what I'm saying? So, I mean, I think it kind of shows growth on Eminem's part. But I mean, we all can agree that we don't really with Kid Rock.
Yeah,
I mean,
safe to say that
it is what it is, and he was a very privileged individual growing up, and
so this is on code for him, really.
Yeah. So I mean, look, I don't really have a whole lot to say towards it because it's almost just one of them things. Like,
look, he has all the right to stand up for MAGA, but like considering what he tried to cosplay himself as a man of the people, and all about Detroit, he also campaigned for Mitt Romney. So he's being consistent, but he campaigned with somebody who said he would have let General Motors die. So I don't know how that plays in the streets of Detroit.
Well, he didn't grow up in those streets either.
Well, this is true. This is true. He actually, as the way he grew up, has more in common with who he's siding with somebody who basically strips companies of their assets and destroys them.
Absolutely.
So, I mean, once again, this is, I guess, trash hip hop news. Because Kid Rock, I'm not surprised, but at the same time, it's like I know people who I consider they are dyed-in-the-wool Republicans. I get it, but when you say you're MAGA, that means something else.
It's a little different,
especially after what I saw at that rally in New York at Madison Square Garden. Yeah, okay, so now it's like, okay, you really are fighting to be on the wrong side of history. Now, once again, I know people. It doesn't matter who they put. As long as it got an R by their name, they're going to vote for them. But like I said, there's a difference between Republicans and MAGA to me. So I see people who, there's a difference between sometimes when you see the signs in the yards.
Yeah.
There's a difference between the MAGA signs and the signs that just say Trump and whatever the guy who's running with. I can't even really remember his name. Vance.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. Like, this is just such a complicated thing. I'll be glad when it's over.
Got one more week, man.
Next week. But it's like, man, come on. Like, at this point, the fact that it's even close says so much about our country.
I'm actually surprised, though, because, like, I'm riding around the city every single day. And in neighborhoods that I wouldn't expect to see a lot of Kamala signs, I see more Kamala than I do Trump here, and that's a little different. I wouldn't say it's alarming, but it's definitely surprising coming from Indiana. Well, Indianapolis, I guess.
I hope it wouldn't be alarming,
because Indianapolis is generally going to vote Democratic. You know what I'm saying? But that's just Indianapolis. But nah, man. I mean, 'tis the season.
'Tis the season.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I tend to think that to me the difference between the MAGAs and the conservatives is the conservatives know a little bit more of typically a little bit more learned, and so like like the Todd Rodikas, right? So he's in Indiana, he's up in Indiana here, and he's also somebody that believes that interracial marriage should be a states' right issue. You know what I mean? And it's like conservatives generally think most things should be states' rights issues, and so
Except marijuana.
Yeah, but I kind of have a problem with you thinking that you think that states should be able to dictate if I should be able to be married to my wife or not.
It's crazy.
It's crazy.
You know what I mean? It's like or if in anything along the lines, like even the abortion issue, like you think that like some states should just be able to say, nah, you have to. I don't know. It's just wild to me. I don't know.
The thing is with that, they're playing both sides. It's almost like as your president, I can believe this, but I'm going to leave it up to your state to decide if you do that or not. It's like they all kind of believe the same thing. I mean, and I know Democrats too that kind of believe in no abortions, things of that nature.
Sure.
Even religious groups,
Christians,
right? That believe in that. But I mean, if we want to be technical and honest about religion when it comes to politics, it's not very Christian of you to christen any one of these candidates as a second coming. And I don't mean second coming as far as Jesus is concerned, but there are some that do that. If you actually read your Bible and understood it and things of that nature, it literally said to keep them separate. Pay what's Caesar's to Caesar and what's God's to God. And they're pretty much not supposed to be intertwined. Yeah. If you're going by Bible principles. But people pick and choose what they want to believe in and make what's right and what's wrong, whatever their blinders decide to do. But I mean, at the end of the day, I mean, there's religions that don't vote at all based off of that because they don't want to intertwine with politics because that's what it says. So when I see these super Christians stand up, Trump is the one that's supposed to bring us home. You shouldn't even feel that way. Yeah. Because if you rely on God or Jesus, whoever you praying to,
it's a false idol or something, right?
Yeah.
100%.
Essentially, that's 100%. Exactly what it is. I mean, whole cities were burned down for this type of act.
Right.
So, I mean, it's just mad weird to me, but do you think?
Well, when people call themselves evangelical Christians at this point, but those same evangelical Christians who vote majority MAGA or Republican or whatever at the intertwined so deeply right now, you can't really tell them apart. They've said that, morals and values in a candidate don't mean anything to them right now. So it's like, different. How can you even call yourself, if that's how you feel, you shouldn't even call yourself, conservative Christian or I just call them special interest whites. At this point,
special interest whites.
I find it interesting too. Like it's like how they don't want to. It's like you can't take what they want you to not take what Trump says literally, but they want you to believe that he's going to do something that he doesn't say. Like they'd be like, well, he just means this over here. Yeah, but he said this. Yeah. Some of it's kind of wild.
How can I not take someone at face value? Word. Yeah, this is what you're saying.
Yeah,
this is what, like, I have to go off what you say.
But anyways, So Eminem, right. Shouts to Detroit.
Go Lions, I guess.
Yeah, go Lions. Go Lions. Hopefully,
go Sports.
Article said rapper slash, what does it say?
Rapper slash
rocker.
Rapper slash rocker.
Yeah, don't put rapper on him. Man.
Yeah, he's definitely a rapper.
He's a rap rocker.
Rap rocker.
In recent news, as I think you guys have all probably seen, Chicago rapper Lil Durk is in federal custody following his arrest last week on murder for hire charges in connection with an alleged plot to target the rapper Quando Rondo. Here's a little news story from ABC.
Lil Durk has been arrested and charged with a murder for hire plot. The Chicago native, whose real name is Dirk Banks, was arrested in Florida by the U.S. Marshals Service. The 32-year-old's arrest comes as 5 other people in Chicago were arrested in connection with the investigation. According to the complaint, Banks and his co-conspirators allegedly worked together to, quote, track, stalk, and attempt to murder a target at a Los Angeles gas station, firing at least 18 rounds into the person's vehicle, striking and killing a passenger in the car. Banks made his first court appearance this afternoon in Miami. Banks' lawyer asked for privacy after leaving court, telling ABC, quote, we will not be commenting at this time.
Play stupid games, get stupid prizes, man. At this point,
is this like a new thing? Like I didn't know. Like, is this something that just recently happened, or is this something that's been building up?
He just recently was picked up, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Yeah,
he was. I know he was picked up recent, but was
you talking about
the Quando Rondo?
Well,
thing,
that shooting happened 2 years ago.
Yeah, that was a while back. Yeah, that was a while back.
So this is something that they've been apparently collecting evidence on, or
Yes, they have wiretaps. Yeah, and people who were under pressure and wore recording devices around Durk and his people. And so once again, this is a Fed case. So they're not playing. This is not like, oh, maybe he can get bond or not in this sort of situation.
Does this affect drill music?
No, I mean this is the literal definition of drill music.
I know, but will it change it?
I think this is one of those ones where, okay, so you look at Chief Keef, right? Chief Keef got out the way somehow.
He hasn't been to Chicago in like 10 years.
And you can make a case that he started all this, and he got right on out the way, and you rarely see him. And so many of these drill rappers have died over the recent years, even further back. I don't know if it's gonna. I'm not going to say it'll be over with, but I think it's going to start being looked at different, because when stuff like this happens, there's nothing good that comes from this at all. So how the rappers are going to start to be looked at, I don't know if the genre is going to be, maybe it'll continue to be as popular. I don't know, man, but I feel like there might be some effect because Durk is the voice. He's very popular. So there's going to be an impact one way or another. I'm still trying to figure out what that looks like, but I think something is going to shift. Just my opinion.
What it looks like is Durk is definitely going to prison for a while.
Yep.
And I kind of feel like he felt like it was on his radar because he's turned over a new leaf, supposedly.
Oh, you a Muslim now? Don't want to chase tail.
There it is.
Became a Muslim. He actually had told some other kid that he needs to leave the street life alone. He in turn ended up, I think he got baptized, the kid that he told him he needs to leave the street life alone.
He did that record with J. Cole with the kids.
Yep.
Right. So it's almost like he probably sensed something going on, because that song came out last year, I believe.
About a year ago.
Yeah, about a year ago. He won a Grammy for it.
Yeah.
But I mean, this is a cut and dry situation of you can't have 1 foot in and 1 foot out. Your whole goal is to make it out. You made it out. Make a way for your friends in other ways versus setting them up as murder for hire. Because not only do you have a case, your people got cases too.
Yep.
And in turn, is one of your guys that you thought was your guy is the one that was wearing the wire. I can't remember what his name is, but he's affiliated with the crew. He's rapped about him. I think the guy did 12 years. And in the song, Durk mentioned that once he gets out, I'm going to give him $50,000. So when he got out, he got 50, he probably got more.
More than that,
he ended up with a job with Durk, and his job had layers to it because he was also wearing a wire around you. So now he even raps about that too. When you get caught up, it's not about the phone taps, it's about one of your partners telling on you.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I mean, this is one of them cases that I mean, this is just a matter of how many years am I going to get? How good is my attorney to get this 25 year sentence reduced to 8 or 9 at this point? Because there's no victory behind this, really. You know,
I think Durk has 4 or 5 children.
Hey,
I think, and
look,
you know what I'm saying? He got enough money to where they should be good, but he can't be there.
That's the part, though.
It depends on how hard he's going to fight this, because those lawyer fees add up quickly, especially when you talk about a federal case. And it's just, look, man, it's not to hearken it too closely to what Diddy or Sean Combs is going through, but just think you are living the high life.
Yeah.
1 minute, you're about to get on a private jet, and now you are in federal custody.
He even knew that too because he had multiple jets set up.
Yeah,
to get up out of here.
Didn't I read where he had like 3 different flights going out, trying to potentially confuse?
Yep.
The feds
that's like stuff in the movies, bro. The feds was like, nah.
I know he had that roll on power, but he didn't learn enough from that to be able to pull that one off.
That's crazy. It's just crazy. When I saw it when I was in Miami.
Yeah.
And I was like, what? You know, and it was just like, again, I just, you know, I see these young men. It's almost like it kind of goes back to what we talked about last week, what Lupe was saying.
Yeah.
You know, and it's just wild that we just talked about Chicago and drill and what we're trying to show the kids. And, you know, Durk, somebody who I thought had, you know, kind of turned the page and was really trying to show everybody something a little bit different, especially with the J. Cole record, which I really liked.
Yeah.
And then like, now he's in federal custody. You know, once again, I don't know if I can't feel sorry for him because he made his choices. I do feel sorry for his kids.
I know Lone mentioned the Diddy case, you know, because these are 2 separate things.
Sure didn't.
Yeah, I mentioned that.
Oh, it was you? I'm sorry. Well, one of y'all coming from that side. Ago. But the reason I'm saying that is because
we just all look the same, don't we?
Well, they say no. Never mind. But with the Diddy situation and now this, I'm just wondering how rap looks overall. Does it even matter? Because this is the most popular genre.
It doesn't, because I mean, again, it's the most popular genre overall.
Rap.
He's from a drill section of rap. Most of his newer stuff, I don't even think you would even consider it drill.
Yeah,
he kind of graduated from that. This is what got him in the door, but his style of rap isn't really drill. He's cut from that cloth. But I don't think anything changed. What I think is sad though, is a lot of people or a lot of these artists from his generation are getting caught up on the same exact shit.
Yep.
It's like, I don't know if these movies got you feeling like you're supposed to still be a gangster once you make it. You really making it is gangster enough.
Right.
And a lot of these people, if they actually go by the principles of the gang that they're affiliated with, a lot of those principles teach you and tell you that you're supposed to be in a position to not have to do things like that. And you're also supposed to put other people in position not to have to do things like that as well. So, man, I just hope that people just wake up, man, and realize that I understand a lot of people feel like they're in a position they got to do what they got to do. But once you're out of that position, you need to just leave that alone. Just stop.
Mm-hmm.
What do you guys think about the content creators in the social media space that poke and prod and egg this stuff on?
Well, those are herbs, but Wallow and them literally told him and his whole crew.
They did.
Please stop. Don't get yourself into nothing that you can't get out of. Yep. He was crying.
It was a powerful episode.
Telling him this, like, please, you are in a position to where you don't have to do none of this no more.
Yeah, I remember that.
I'm telling you, these babies and these women, they depending on y'all. You understand?
Sure.
You know what I mean? And on some real we racing each other. Another again, it's the condition of our mind, and I understand, but I'm telling you, it's something waiting for you. And I don't give a what you going through right now, little homies. You bigger than what you going through.
I don't think we can put any.
I'm not putting it on. I'm just saying.
I don't,
because I mean, Durk a grown man. He did what he did. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
That's a part of the culture now. Is you get and like to Terry's point, not the Wallows and the Gillies, but
those are vultures, though. I mean, you can't really classify them and say that influences a case on somebody that's doing stuff. His guy is the one that tapped him.
I think what Mike's speaking to though is the fact that in the place and time that we're at, these rappers know that the more outlandish and crazy stuff that happens, that they're going to get more clicks and they're going to get more notoriety, and because it's looking, people care more about being famous than good and all this other stuff. And how much does that aspect kind of play into it?
That's what I'm talking about.
I mean, I don't know if I can see you doing that when it's something like, I'm gonna get myself some diamond shoes or stand on top of a couch in the middle of the street. Yeah, it's because doing outlandish things. But like when you're talking about murder for hire, this is
something different.
I can't really put that on. saying, oh yeah, if we do some murder for hire, we can get these clicks up. No.
So what I'm saying is, when you hear people constantly online saying, when you gonna slide, when you gonna slide, when you gonna slide, who's the
content creator?
That's not even necessary. That's more so that's fans and people that have no idea what this life is like.
But see, that doesn't change social media.
That doesn't change anything though, because you that's like saying we know everybody is strong enough to ignore trolls. We don't know that. You don't know what influences people outside of the real situation. We never know that.
Man,
it could be people that could be influenced by goofies out here talking. That's all I'm saying.
So are you saying the artists themselves are influenced by
what I'm saying?
Social media? I'm
talking about the artists, the people around them. Like, I'm not saying that this is 100% the reason why this happened. I'm just saying it's a part of the culture.
Look,
it comes with hip hop now.
You have to be in a you got to be responsible. These people,
True.
I mean, they do pay your bills, but they don't directly pay your bills. And I'm not trying to impress nobody by doing a jail sentence because I'm supposed to slide for Vine. You know what I'm saying?
No, but you're smart.
That's just stupid.
It is stupid. I agree.
But under certain circumstances, things like that, yeah, that will happen. But even say somebody did slide for Vine, there's no way that he should have been in no way, shape, or form involved in that.
I agree 100% with that.
You know what I'm saying? Because he's not the only one from that neighborhood.
Facts.
He's in the position to get everybody jobs and kind of clean up the situation in the neighborhood. There's no reason that he should have been doing that.
I agree.
And I talked about this when I can't remember, it was Takeoff was killed, and I said, maybe we need to start looking at it like this. Every time, something happens and somebody kills a rapper, you burn down a black business. And when you do stuff and because you're influenced by people who really don't have your best interests at heart, Lil Durk going to prison and being indicted and having to sit in federal detention, that's another black business burned down because he's the big dog. Now, everybody who ate and was able to take care of their families based on the fact that Lil Durk was doing his thing, now they're left out in the cold. So, I know it's a lot of maybe weight on somebody's shoulders and everybody can't handle that weight. But those are the things you need to think about. If you're out here and you're the big dog, then you gotta, and there are people in your circle who have to say, you know what, even while we're having this conversation, you might need to go in another room.
Yeah.
All right. 100% right on that.
There's something called plausible deniability.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Where I wasn't there, Your Honor. I don't know what they're talking about, Your Honor.
Yeah. Okay.
But what I always say, we gonna see.
You gonna see.
Yeah.
How many years you get?
That part.
Yeah, really.
Thanks to our partners. Dr. Coleman of Coleman Dental is our go-to dentist. He's a longtime Indianapolis arts and music supporter located right in Broad Ripple. Our good friends at Indie CD and Vinyl operate one of the best record stores in North America. Shop new and used in their site or visit them in person. And the best way to support the New Old Heads is to visit our Patreon and become a member. All details on newoldheads.com. One more topic here, then we're going to get into like a little Tyler, the Creator review breakdown.
Shout out to Nate Jeezy in the chat. We see you, brother.
What's up, Nate? In a recent interview that the Breakfast Club had with Talib Kweli, depending on if you're Talib's parents or not. Yeah. The idea of why Tyler, the Creator, not being in the big three or big four was brought up, just very, very briefly.
Yeah.
And Talib and Charlamagne talked about there being him not being a product of the industry, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
So let's just watch this short little clip and then discuss further.
I have Future in my Fantastic Four for this era. So it's Kendrick, Cole, Drake, Future. But then I sit back and think to myself, why isn't Tyler in that conversation?
Tyler's not a product of the industry, maybe. When I say product industry, I'm not saying that like a plant. What I'm saying is at a certain point, a button was pushed. The building got behind you. And the building absolutely got behind Future. And in Tyler's case, I feel like in his case, the building, his labels, they got behind him. But they didn't get behind him in the way that they would get behind an artist they would push to urban.
So again, right there that he's talking essentially about, the big three. So we have the big three of Cole, Kendrick, and Drake, right? And Tyler never really kind of gets mentioned in that, regardless of what his quality of material gets put out there. Quali here is making the argument is because, he's pushing not within that said system, but something else. Do you guys?
I definitely agree.
He said, one thing he said here that really jumped out to me was, he brought it all the way home when he said, Tyler is not one of the artists they would send up here to y'all. When he used the Breakfast Club as an example. And I was like, yeah, that's a good point, because we know who comes up, typically what artists come up to the Breakfast Club. I don't even know if Tyler's been up there. Correct me if I'm wrong, chat, but when he said that, it drove that point home, because he's definitely not an artist that I would see get pushed to a place like the Breakfast Club, you know? So, but as it relates to Charlamagne's list or whatever, man, this kid is incredible. And as you go back through the catalog and you start looking at the consistency and the high quality of the product, I know we're going to get into the new one a little bit later on. Hey, I'm not mad at it.
It's really a thing where, like, once again, coming from the radio and record side, there's really been nothing that Tyler has put out to where they're like, you can take into a program director and say, this is a priority we can get behind as far as a single.
Right.
Okay. Because once again, right now, everything in the urban space, whatever, is single based. Yeah. That's why certain artists, you'll be like, why haven't they put out an album? Why are they going to put out an album? They got singles that are on the radio all the time. And Tyler has not, even as we listen to this new project that that we're going to talk about, I don't hear a single.
There's a single on there.
There's a single on there.
Sticky.
Yeah,
I think Sticky.
I don't
probably
think
my
so.
least favorite record on the album.
I don't think
that's
so.
That's a single.
Yeah.
I mean, just because it has Sexy Red and Glorilla on, I think maybe people will pay
And Wayne.
Wayne.
That's a single.
That's
bro.
enough. That's enough power
hits.
for a single.
I think there are parts of it that need to be edited in a certain
We
way.
can wager that one. We can put a wager on that.
We'll put a wager on that one. Yeah.
I'll finish your point though.
Sorry.
No, and so like there's a difference between when, like you said, the building getting behind something. Future always has something that I think that's the Atlantic, situation. I don't know. There's only 3 real labels anyway. So, whatever subsidiary he's under, they can always say, okay, this is what we're pushing the radio. This is what we're pushing the mix show. This is what we're pushing in the clubs, mainstream, urban. This is what we're pushing. We'll do a remix for, the Vegas type thing. And this is what we're going to push in the strip club.
It also helps that he's from Atlanta.
That's the part.
Atlanta's the new Motown / LA. Whatever goes through Atlanta, if it's hot in Atlanta, it's going to be hot elsewhere.
And he was bubbling down there anyway.
Yeah.
Before he got to
So when
the
you talk about
pushed.
Tyler, you're not talking about some. It's kind of like, remember when the whole thing happened with DJ Khaled, and he was like, "This is just so mysterious, and nobody's heard it."
It's called albums that you actually hear the songs, not no mysterious and you never hear it.
It's because, and he was all in his feelings because it's like, wait a minute. The building is behind my record. I have this for the club. I've got this for mix show, and I've got this for the radio. How is this record that has none of those things on lock going to outsell my record?
Because when you're corny, I'm sorry, I got my feelings there. Go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say, they actually touched on that a little bit in this interview. Talib actually mentioned that he said that might have been the moment where things actually kind of shifted, because Khaled legitimately, I mean, it was corny, but he legitimately could not understand how Tyler won at that moment. But Tyler won the internet.
He did.
And that, the internet was, Tyler has been winning at the internet since he's been out there. And I think that's the one difference. Like, radio and the internet are 2 completely different things, and they're both super powerful in their own mind. And so you have the legacy of the music industry and how it exists through radio, right? But the legacy of that via the radio, and then the internet is just something that's new and different.
Yeah.
And Tyler he skips all that.
Yeah. Tyler didn't subscribe to wanting to be that type of artist. Like, if you follow Tyler's career from the beginning to where he is now, I mean, they started out as kids that just wanted to do these pop-up shows in LA. They got their buzz going. They were heavy on the internet. At one point in time, they were talking about they were new Wu-Tang, which we don't necessarily agree with that. But I mean, it was a very artistic collective. I mean, you got Tyler the Creator, you got Earl Sweatshirt, you got Frank Ocean, you got
Earl.
I said Earl.
Yeah, Earl Sweatshirt.
What's his name? The internet.
Domino.
Sid. And then they were able to transition that into a TV show on Adult Swim. Yeah. I mean, I think they were throwing balls in different buckets. They weren't really worried about trying to push radio friendly. It didn't fit their image. Yeah. Like early Tyler, you would never, he don't want to be on the radio. Yeah. But he's since transitioned to an artist. So you see early Tyler, and then you see his growth over time, and then he starts telling you what his influences are, and you can hear the influences. But I mean, Tyler just wasn't in the position to ever want to even have that until, again, when Khaled mentioned something. I mean, obviously he was nominated for a Grammy, but Grammy does not mean radio success.
Nope.
Right.
That means that your album was cohesive, it's musical, and some people liked it and enjoyed it and voted on it, and it was better than yours. So in turn, you were upset, and it actually got more people's eyes on Tyler. So it did the opposite thing. And if you've noticed, his releases have all included something that could possibly get on the radio, but I think this one has one.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah.
I think it just, back to the main point though, like Tyler is not a product of the industry.
No.
He intentionally kind of went around it and kind of said, I don't really care. So
because what Terry said,
and I think with that being said, I think that's probably part of the reason as to why he wouldn't be considered one of the big three, is because all the big three are people that are of the industry.
Exactly.
Within that, Tyler's, even though it's his fan base is massive, it's still niche. It's very specific.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Kendrick was niche for a minute.
Yeah.
Until swimming pools happened.
Crossed over a little bit.
Then he start getting a couple other radio joints and
he's on
getting
Interscope.
Features. He's on
Interscope.
The Draco sign is definitely going to help.
And Interscope at one point was the biggest building in the hip hop industry.
Yeah.
So you talk about a button being pushed. That's the difference.
But he had to follow it up with the talent too.
True. And to Terry's point about the early stages of what Tyler did, it speaks right to what Lone said. He had that equity lasted on the internet, and that he cashed in a lot of coins off that because they've always been that way. So,
I mean, he still has stuff that only exists on the internet. Like if you want to buy certain things, you have to buy through his direct internet link. There's not any big commotion about it. He has cologne out. He has freaking shoes. He's got clothes,
clothing lines. Yep.
He doesn't really, publicize it like that. But those that are heads for Odd Future type stuff know exactly what's going on, and he's succeeding very well at doing that game.
I agree.
Shout out to Soulja Boy.
He was the first.
Yeah, he was, because he had like the Atari or something, right? What was it? What did he have?
So it was what do you call it? The Soulja game console or something like that.
Yeah, I was around before Atari.
Yeah, anybody ever get that?
I don't even know if that thing is a real.
I mean, you can get them on Temu.
No, it was real. I didn't know if he actually sent them to people.
What you say? You can get them on J Moore?
Temu.
Don't do that. Don't do that.
Yeah, I mean, all it is
AliExpress. Yeah, all this is a little.
You can buy it at Aldi's.
System on a chip that has a bunch of emulators.
Yo, that's petty. That's petty right there.
You can buy it at a TikTok shop. Come get the.
That's petty, Lone. That's one of the most petty things I've heard you say in a while.
TikTok shop. I ain't had.
I have too.
I have as well.
I bought an ice maker.
Do it work?
I actually haven't plugged it in yet. I was waiting until I got my man cave together, but it makes ice.
What did I buy off TikTok shop? I forgot what I bought. I bought one of those ear things. This, like the with the light and the camera on it, so you can see inside of your ear.
Oh, I see.
What?
Because
does it work?
It does. It was like $10, and then I did it using it, and my ears are clean, so it didn't. It wasn't as cool as I wanted it to be.
You wanted it to be nasty, like the one.
So I could see it.
I wanted it to be nasty.
I wanted it to be like, ooh, let me grab that.
That's why I couldn't hear.
And it turns out that I can't hear because of just being around loud music.
Yeah.
I don't want to see something crawling in his ear or something on the camera.
If something's crawling in my ear, then I understand why I can't hear as well.
Remember that part in Star Trek 2 when they put the thing in the dude's ear? Mm-hmm. That used to mess me up as a kid.
Yeah, there's a lot of things.
That's crazy, Lone. You copped that hoping to find something. That's crazy, bro.
Look, being around loud music for as long as I have.
I'm surprised I can hear anything.
No,
it's that, like, I was hoping, I was like, well, maybe I have something lodged in there that makes it hard for me to hear.
I'm not gonna lie, man. I've been out around loud music with him, and you can see the change. You can see it. It's like all his energy is being sucked out of him because the music's too loud. I've seen this happen.
I get hangovers from loud music now.
Yeah,
I went to the NERD concert at the Vogue. This probably had to be about 12 years ago.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And my ears rang for 2 days. I was like, I think I messed something up.
Yeah.
I really felt like that.
Yeah.
You about to go to the doctor, wasn't you?
Nah, it was a little scary for a minute.
All right.
Never stand that close to speakers.
Ever.
Yes, that's my one thing that, like, out of all the health potential whatever. That's the one thing where I'm like,
your hearing.
My hearing is the one thing. Most people probably like sight or something, but mine's definitely my hearing. Obviously.
My voice.
Well, yeah.
That's why I don't smoke cigars like that anymore.
Drink your
Drink
tea.
you some tea, brother.
Some air motion in this room. It's hot.
Yeah, that global warming.
End of October.
I think the windows
90 degrees.
Yeah, we got the outside.
I got a box fan in the sunroom.
Old school.
Dude.
I'm actually not bad, and I got on the sweatshirt.
Hey, maybe it's just, I don't know.
A little steamy.
Conversation is so hot.
Yeah. So we're going to try something different. Shouts to anybody who's in here. I think Nate's still in the chat. And I think Jack Gobinator's still in here. This is something we haven't done before. We're going to do a full album review of Tyler's Chromacopia. We're going to listen to it, stop it when we need to, talk about it all the way through. This is something that we can only do live, and it can only live on our Patreon. So we're going to do it that way. I think I'm also going to upload it to our YouTube for the members only, because we're not going to be able to make any money off of this. It might even get blocked. So if you're a $5 member on that, or just a $5 member on Patreon, you'll be able to, check out this full video. So, and if it does well, or people seem to like it, maybe we'll keep doing it, and every once in a while.
Because we get asked about album reviews, and we're like, we don't really do that.
This is the first time we tried. We got asked to do a Doechii one too. So maybe if this goes well, maybe we go back and do the Doechii one.
This is a good one to talk about too.
I think also this one's not superbly long, but
14 records, I believe. Now there are some 4-minute records on there because this thing moves.
I think it's just shy of an hour.
It moves. It's just shy of an hour. So anything that's like longer than an hour, I don't know if we could really do. But who knows? We can see here. So I guess that'll wrap up the episode this week.
NewOldHeads.com for all the education you need this year. Remember, if you see it, like it, subscribe it, hit the bells for notifications, and also make sure that you give us a 5-star rating. And make sure you stop by and check out our Patreon options as well. We got some new content coming up. Appreciate the support, and we'll see y'all next week.
Yeah.
Peace.